So, hello. I just quickly have to do something here. Okay, so hello to this live stream where we will build a cigarette from scratch. Yeah, with geometry nodes on a curve, basically. So everything will be bound to a single curve. Yeah, because it's just relatively easy to control it. So that's why I built it that way. Hi, Daniel. Yeah, you made it. you made it in time. Nice to have you here. So you can ask questions if you want. And yeah, so I think we should just jump right into it. And I saw one thing. I already messed up a little bit because for some reason a material wasn't saved. So I have to improvise later on. But at first we will just do geometry nodes. It's not important for that part. But for the material part later, for all the attribute stuff and so on, so I have to improvise a little bit. I built that like over a week ago. And I have to just improvise a little bit later. But okay, so we can just ignore that. And if you're here for geometry nodes, it doesn't affect you at all because geonodes is, yeah, still the same. All right, so I really have one screen, too little. I have two screens, which is not enough, apparently, for a live stream and Blender stuff with many windows. Okay, but now it's good. So let's start right away. So the thing is, since I want to build everything along a curve, because of course, if you plan a project like this, for example, a cigarette, then you have to, so when you approach a geometry nodes project, you have to think about how to arrange it from start. And I thought about just having it on one single curve, because it's very handy to use that curve, because when I trim that, so when I cut it from here, so when it's then only this long, then yeah, this mimics the geometry of a burning cigarette pretty well, because it's a cylinder basically, which is just being reduced in length, technically, and that's why I will just use a curve. We could also, in theory, work with a real mesh at first, like this. And then for, yeah, because we also have the Z value, or whatever axis this is. In this case, it's the Z value, so Z plus. We have the Z value, which can also be used. For example, every value above a certain number, for example, 3, is then affected by something, for example, burning and smoking and so on. So that can also be done, but it's less flexible than with a curve because the trimming function is just very cool. So I just use a curve for that, but that's how you usually approach it. Also an empty parent into the main shape. Yeah, that's also possible. That's often used as well. I also have like a couple tutorials where I do that. You can also use a proximity controller where you have like an empty here, and then you move that down, and in the proximity of that, you have it affected by something. That's also possible. That's right. So different approaches. The thing is, so that's completely true. Practically, it's easier to work with a trimmed curve because a cigarette, usually, if you have a cigarette here, I don't smoke, so I know all of my cigarette knowledge is from other smokers or movies. So me as a non-smoker, so this is fictional for me, basically. It usually burns from the tip to the root. You never burn a cigarette here, like this. You always ignite it or light it here, and then it burns linearly in one direction. That's why a curve is very handy here. You could use a proximity controller, but it's a little bit unnecessarily complicated. I mean, it's not really complicated, but it's way easier to just use a curve. But yeah, so far for the theory. And yeah, that's why I did it with a single piece of curve like this here. Yeah, my cigarette can't be bent because yeah, I build it in a way where that's not so handy. In theory, we could build it like this, but I haven't prepared that. But you could also make a bent cigarette, which is a little bit unnatural for a cigarette, but maybe you want to do a different thing, not a cigarette. But you could also do that. If you, by the way, if the birds are chirping too loud, I can close my window, but I set some background noise cancellation, so I think it should be fine. Okay, so I just start with a curve like this. I will just get rid of the single point here, so it's only 2 points basically. And I just want to rotate it by -90° and move it a little bit up like this. So I have it here, or additionally, you can do it also in the geometry nodes tree. So you could also just create a curved line. Okay, so you hear the birds. Okay, perfect. So natural ambience. So here we could also use like a curved line in the geometry nodes editor, but I think it's a bit more easy to just have it on a real curve. But this you can actually control it with a handle. Okay, so let's get started with the editing. Okay, so it should be slow enough that you can just follow along and ask questions if you're stuck somewhere. But of course, you don't have to. You can just take care what I'm doing here. Pay attention. All right. So at first, I talked about the trimming. I want to add a trim curve node. And here we can check at first if our cigarette is correctly oriented. Yes, it is. If it wasn't, I would trim the start. So, I mean, it's just a theoretical discussion. Where is the start of a cigarette? Is it at the top or at the mouthpiece? So I think this should be the end and this should be the start, but it really depends. It's more philosophical maybe. Where is the start of a cigarette? Okay, so at first I want to do something which is capturing an attribute here, which is the spline parameter, which is the factor. The factor is basically the relative length of the curve, which means here it's 0 and here it's 1 and here it's 0.5. I need that later, so for now it just sits here and waits, but later on I will need it to capture the current state here. Okay, so I'm just doing it in the order where it's oriented on the tree, that you can follow it a little bit easier, because it would be maybe a bit confusing if I do something here and then go back and add something here. I think it's easier to follow if I just streamline it the way it's in the tree in the correct order. But of course we will need that only later. And I can make this even smaller because we only need that little thing here. Okay. So now let's start with the cigarette body, which is a cylinder. Let me quickly arrange my window here a bit differently. Here, okay. So with the body, which is just a curve to mesh, and the mesh will be a curve circle profile, which is this here. So now it's a mesh object and no curve anymore. So we changed the geometry type here. And I want to change the radius here. The value here, I mean, so I built this originally. Let me quickly use the other value. So I built this originally with a pretty much correct height here, which is, let me quickly check here. So it's 10 centimeters high. So so actually on my reference thing, which I'm using as a correction here, so it's like 0.1 meter like this, and the radius then, because of course, so I googled the actual parameters of a cigarette, because maybe it's good to have it original sized. So that will be 0.003, for example. Depending on the cigarette, maybe 0.004, also possible. I used 3, so it's like this then. Okay, and it's way smaller. Of course, you can make it larger, but that's how I worked it out. All right. And I want to move it down. Okay. Okay. What I wanted to say. By the way, I tried different things to build it. The first approach I had was to just use a circle, extrude that once to get the mouth piece geometry, and then extruded that again to get the rest of the body, and then I would have like a tube or a cylinder with 2 segments. But that turned out not to be very suiting, because the burning and stuff, I want to move the geometry. You can see that if you watch the trailer or any of my shorts or Instagram things, then you saw the geometry moving here away, and because of that I need a lot of geometry anyway for that geometry to move left and right and so on for the burning paper. And because of that I just said, okay, I'm using a single tube like we have it here now with many faces here, and the mouthpiece will just be a shader. The mouthpiece is just a Z coordinate, and then everything below that is mouthpiece material. And by this it's a little bit easier to arrange everything, and yeah, I don't have unnecessary stuff then around to work with. Okay, so but that's a good way, I think, a relatively easy way of doing it. Okay, so we have the circle, and so we could, so maybe that's a little bit overdoing it, but I extruded that also. But I think that's optional, because I wanted to have a thickness of the wall, because later on there will be something inside the tobacco which is burned, and it has more, you're more flexible with the size of the tobacco if the walls have a little bit of thickness, because if you don't do that, then a tiny thing sticking out here of the wall is already visible from outside, which means a little bit thickness of the walls was a good idea, I think. So we will just extrude it without individual. This will extrude all the faces individually, which we don't want. We want to have it as a single extrusion, and the value is 0.0002. 0.0002 meters. Oh, wait a second. 0.0002. Okay. So then we have it like this. And the thing is, if you extrude something in Blender, so with geometry nodes, we have to take care, because this won't. So this it's not deleting it, but we can say it deletes. It deletes the original geometry, and it's only the extruded piece. So I can show you that if you have a plane. And you extrude that, let's say, down, then the original face is gone, because it pushes it away. And this means you have to get it back, which is basically, and let's turn on the face orientation, then you can see what's happening. So this pushes it down, let's push it up, that it's correctly oriented. The inside is then visible, which means you have to bring back the original one. But this is now wrong direction, because of course before we did that, the upside, the outside, is here. And now it should be inverted because, yeah, something like that. I agree. I agree, Daniel. They should add here, like, keep original would be pretty nice, actually, because most of the time I extrude something, I do this here. So you have to extrude it, then you have to flip the original, and then you have to merge by distance, because now they're not connected. If I apply that here, as you can see, it's not attached. Yeah, a group for that, especially for that, is also a good idea. I always do it manually because I'm too lazy for creating groups for this. But yeah, so this here is what you have to do when you extrude something and want to have the original one intact. Okay, and we'll just do this now. All right, I will just wait until they patch it here internally. Or, I don't know, program a Python add-on myself or whatever. So we have to join the geometry of the original one, flipped, like this. And then merge by distance. Wait a second, I messed up. Oh yeah, you have to take care. The distance here is too large in this case, because you can imagine this is very, very tiny here, everything. It merges everything. But it's just because the cigarette is so small. If you have a larger model, this will be fine. But here I will just add 2 more zeros and then it's fine. Okay. By the way, you may see some weird artifacts here, like little red dots or other things from some angles. You don't have to be worried. This is just because it's a very small model. Blender has difficulties when things are too small or too large displaying it correctly, but this is only here in the render. It will be fine, but for the viewport, it's sometimes a little bit, yeah, you see some artifacts there sometimes. Okay, and now after all of this, oh, by the way, we could also group that. I also did that. Yeah, set shade smooth there. I think this is already smooth shaded. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, but it will get an auto smooth, I think, anyway. Let me quickly get rid of this here and this here. Okay. So we can then, after the merge by distance, add a material, for example, for the body. So let's create one body, and then we can have the body material here for this one. Let's quickly see that here. Yeah, we can add set shade smooth. But I don't know if you know this. In Blender 4 point something, maybe 4.1 or 2 or whatever, they changed the auto smooth. Before it was a real setting in the geometry here, but they changed that, so now it's a geometry node basically. If I do a set auto smooth, wherever this is, I can only do this on meshes, I think, right? Yeah, auto smooth, it will create a geometry node tree. So this is now a geometry nodes modifier basically, which is cool because you can manipulate that better. Just for information, maybe you've missed that, but this is now a modifier. They patched that, I don't know, half a year ago or whatever. Okay. Yeah, but I will keep that now as later. Yeah, smooth by angle, and this here is exactly the same. So this is the modifier which is added. So it's the same thing when I do that. But yeah, it's true. So if it's a curve, I can do this and have the angles here sharp. But I'm not sure if I want to have them sharp. I will drop that, and later when I actually care about the shader, I will see if that's necessary. But yeah, good idea to just implement that here. Now for my material piece, let me quickly show you. So that body is, I don't know, yeah, white, that's fine. And now I want my mouthpiece. And the mouthpiece is like orange color thingy, like this. And now we can add the different material, which is another set material. Oops, now we can just copy that for the mouth. And I want to limit this now for a selection, which is the position. Separate that. And the Z should be compare less than or equal. And then I will just do it like this. And now I can select where should my mouthpiece be. So I'm using the position information, separate that by X, Y, Z. So I'm only looking at the Z value. And if the Z value is less than something, then it will change the material, which means the lower piece here. And yeah, let's do it like 0.03. That's maybe a little bit much, or 2.5, I don't know, something like that. I mean, if smokers are present here, you can tell me how realistic the proportion from white body to mouth body is. Yeah, I mean, I could Google how large the mouthpiece is here, Daniel. I could do that, and then I would know exactly the value. So that's why I used the original height. I mean, in the preview, it's maybe a bit, yeah, some artifacts. I mean, of course, we could also just scale this up again. Then you don't have artifacts in the object mode and still have the values here. But yeah, I will just work with this as long as it works. Yeah, the Blender preview is not the best of the best, but it's fine for most things. Okay, so, and I just, I can just group a couple of things here. So let me quickly exclude those. Those are a bit special, but here, this is used for the Control J. Oh, by the way, where is it? I don't have that installed here. Here you can see what I'm typing, if it's important. So this is important. So this is changing the body geometry or something, so that you know what's happening here. Or you could also like say cigarette body with thick walls if you want to be a bit more precise. So later on you know what you're doing here. You should always do that. I also am a guy, I love to tinker around with geometry node trees, and sometimes I don't do this, and then I go back a couple months later and I have no idea what I did there. So it's like commenting in code. When you like code in Python or whatever, you have to also comment what this piece here is responsible for. So otherwise you will get lost in your own code or geometry nodes tree. So that's very important. So that's, oh, wait a second, I did something wrong. Okay, and this here is the mouth piece Z coordinate. Okay. So let's continue. So now we have that little piece here. And now we want to do the burning geometry, which is, I think, one of the more interesting parts. Because, I mean, now we have a cylinder with two materials. That's not that exciting. But we can continue now with the burning geometry, which you saw also in the trailer, maybe if you watched that. Then we can use this. And of course, we will use a noise texture for that, like everything else we do. And here, so I want to change the positions of the points here for the paper to deform, which means I want to use a set position node, set position, which changes the point, positions, point vector data. Let's put it over here, then we can work here at the bottom. And I want to use a noise texture. And I want to use the color vector math subtract or add. And I want to subtract 0.5. Quick question, do you know why I do this? Maybe you know that by chance, or also do it like this. I always do this because otherwise it's annoying to work with noise maps and vectors. And here I want to add a vector math scale to have a little bit more control. Only for the top part. Yeah, okay, so that's fine. So let's just connect it here. Okay, so I'm just explaining that this here is important for correcting the color values of the noise texture. The noise texture has 3 outputs, R, G, and B, and all of these 3 outputs here are from 0 to 1. 0 to 1, 0 to 1. So, for example, a possible vector here would be 0.2, 0.8, 0.1. Or another possible would be 1, 0.5, 0.2. And when you're paying attention, all of those values are positive, and that's not good, because I also want to have negative values, because I'm shifting things around here, and if I do this only with positive values, I can show you that. Make this a little bit smaller. 0.015. You can see that it's only in the new noise normalize outputs from 0 to 1. Oh, and this, okay, so this is from minus 0.5 to plus 0.5. Okay, okay, got it. Okay, cool. Cool feature. Usually, okay, yeah, usually work with 0 to 1, so that's fine. Okay, cool, yeah, I didn't know that. I always did it like this. Okay, nice. So we can just drop this. So you made the tree 1 node less. So let's see how often you can you can do this. I hope very often. So now you have values in all directions. Okay, nice, perfect. And you want to have a very, very high scale here. I use something like 600, like this, because yeah, it should be 1 less, 500 to go. And I wanted to, so we want a high value here. And we also want to, I hope you don't hear that background noise here. Car is just approaching. We want to do one thing, which is we want to only deform the top, because when it's burning here, then we don't want to have all that stuff happening here. So what we're doing now is using the data from before, the trim data. Where is it? Here. And use a color ramp. Like this. And then use this to scale that again. So I scaled it once for general strength and then scale it again with this trim value. And now I can decide where it should be. And it should be only at the top. And we have not enough geometry here. Let's quickly detach that so we can see it. Wireframe. So you can see we don't have enough geometry, maybe. I mean, yeah, not maybe, but for sure. That's not enough. And since we have a curve, we can just change the resolution here to something high. I use something like 80, like this. We can also do more, like 90 or something, but it should be a high value. So you have like at least square-like shapes here, or almost square, like this. And now we have enough geometry. So let's connect this again. So now this looks better. And here we can now choose where it should move in general. And I use something like this. Yeah. So the values in the video is 0.855. Yeah. So for geometry nodes beginners or not that advanced people. I mean, I know some people will see this who are also beginners. This here is just I mean, I can show you what this is here. So this is just a line. Here is black and here is white, which means this is 0 and this is 1. And it's just a linear gradient from 0 to 1. And I will use this gradient in the color ramp here, because you can imagine if you turn that by 90 degrees, it's like this. And I just cut it, which means I say I only want to have white values here, which would be roughly here. I can show you that again here. So here you can see what I'm doing. I'm just shifting the gradient around to compress it basically here. And now I only have, so everything here is black and the gradient is only in the top piece. And the gradient is then used to multiply the strength here. So this scale, scale is multiplying, basically. Multiplying is vector. Yeah, that's a cross product. So vector multiplied with, I don't know how you write it actually. So you multiply it, I think, like this, like that. With scaling, you multiply a vector with a single value, for example, 0.8. So it's just you don't have a second vector here. That's what scaling is. It's multiplying, basically. So I multiply only values which are here from 0 to 1, which means the effect is here a little bit weaker and at the top very strong. Okay, so that's what's happening here. I'm just remapping the multiplication area, basically. Okay, so that's why I needed that trim data from before. Now we're using it. Okay, perfect. By the way, you could also, I mean, since you may want to use this on different things, the scale here is just how random the shape or the pattern here is. If I put this on 0, nothing happens. If I turn this up, it will get more and more random. And I want to have it very random. That's why I have it at 600. But you could also work with lower values like this. Then it looks like, I don't know, do you know these? I only know this from like American car sellers or something, car merchants. These little windy plastic figures at the parking lot or something like that. They look a little bit like that, yeah, if you move it around. So you could also make it a little bit more wavy, but since I want to make it randomly deformed, I use a high value like this. Okay. Just for information, why it's so high, because I want to have it very random. Okay. Okay, they're actually in use. Okay, I have an Apple commercial. Okay, I'm just here pouring another cup of tea because I'm speaking a lot. Okay. I don't know that sketch from, was it Simpsons or Family Guy, where they talk about that? Okay, perfect. All right. So we got this. Okay, nice. So we can just save this also. So it would be just this here, this here, this here, and this here. And yeah, this. We can group this. Control J. And this is basically the deformation at the tip. burn deformation at tip, for example. Okay, nice. Okay, so, and let me quickly, oh yeah, wait a second, that's a little bit too strong here. Okay, oh, by the way, don't be confused. Most of the top part later will be invisible. Maybe you saw that in the trailer also. So the actual paper, the deformed paper, would be maybe only this here. Everything here will have a very low alpha value, which means it's fading away and being invisible. So all this geometry chaos, you can't see it later. Yeah, so you can ignore that. By the way, one thing to mention for the color ramp, you could also move that piece around when you, for example, add another black value, then you can have a piece in the center, yeah, for other projects if you want to have that. So if you have the scale lower, like this, you could move that piece around. Yeah, you can just imagine it like remapping it really. So this bar is represented by this bar. It's the same thing. As you can see, if I move the thing around, the bright area, it will just increase the effect at a certain area. Okay, just for information, it doesn't have to be at the tip. It can also be somewhere else, but here it suits pretty well. Okay, let me quickly use the correct value, so later on I don't have a little difference. 0.855. Okay, so like this. Okay, that's good. Okay. So we can continue. So now the geometry for the paper is basically finished already. So the geometry of the paper is done. And I did also the tobacco. Maybe I overdid it. I don't know, do I have the video? I want to show you the video. That's a bit hard. Can I just drop that in? Ah, here you can see it. Okay, nice. Oh, perfect. Oh, I love Blender. It's working so good. Okay, so here you can see that red thing here is the burning tobacco inside of the paper. I used a lot of tubes for that, so the tobacco here is little cylinders like this, distorted a bit, so they are like this inside. And maybe that was a little bit overdoing it because you can barely see that. I wanted it to be very high detailed, so maybe you could take a closer look and it will roughly look like tobacco, but you don't have to do that. I will show this now to you how I did it, but yeah, the tobaccos were, particle, they were instances. Yeah, they were little tubes inside here, all the way actually. So you have like a lot of tubes inside here like this. And when they burn, they would deform at the top here also like this. And then, yeah, I want it to be a bit more realistic, but you don't have to do this now. So after I looked at the project, I thought that wasn't necessary, but we can do that, no problem. I can show you how I did that, but you don't have to necessarily do this with real instances or real geometry. Could maybe just be a thingy, blob, cylinder, whatever, with just a slice here doing whatever shader here. But yeah, you can do that however you want to. I did it with tubes. So now let's make another branch for the tobacco. Yeah, that solved the effect and paid for it. I think it may seem a lot, but the devil is in the details. Yeah, I mean, and I wanted to make it more like versatile is the correct word, like more flexible in the usage, that you could take a closer shot and you would actually see like burning amber-like particles or tips there of the tobacco. Yeah. Okay. So let's, yeah, so we have to add now here something, which we will join. Let me quickly take a look where we want to join that. Okay, right at the end. So we will join it right here at the end. So we will have another branch. So I could move all of that a little bit down with this here and with this. Okay, so that's the cigarette body in general. So we could also group this again in another box. I think I can change the color of that, right? Oh yeah, here. So that could be the cigarette body in general. So you know what this is about here. And now we'll use this here for the tobacco geometry. Yeah, it's relatively simple actually. I just created a mesh circle like this. We can start somewhere here. So just a mesh circle with a lot of vertices, 100 roughly, and the radius is 0.001. So you can look at that here like this. And then I made another one with a larger circle, which was like 0.00223. I'm reading that correctly. And I just joined them. So we have two circles like this. Okay, which is inside there. And those two circles are the instance roots here. So relatively easy actually, just two rings basically. And now I want to connect instances on points. Let me quickly already connect this over here so we can see that better. Okay, we have instances, and the instance is just a curved line. Here, like this. And the curved line should be 0.1 in length, just like the cigarette. So this is as large as the cigarette. If you look at here, this is just the same height. Okay. So now I want to resample the curve. And I think that may be unnecessary now when I see that. Oh no, it's not, sorry. This is for the length. So we now have two circles, and on that circle are 100 points each, so 200 in summary, and they all have a line, and this line here also consists of 100 vertices like this. Okay, so we have now many pillars here. You can see that here. Okay. All right, and now where we have this, we can, or we should realize them, because otherwise we can't turn them individually or manipulate them individually. And now I want to twist them to make it more random sitting inside there. Alternatively, you could also, I mean, that was just also a curve-like approach, because I thought maybe that fits good. You could also, in theory, have real particles. So you could model, for example, a little particle, little tobacco, how do you call those? Little thingies. And they sit inside, but I think you would need a lot of them, and they all need a lot of geometry. So, I mean, not a lot, but I don't know. They all need some geometry, and then you need thousands of those. So I thought it's maybe better to just use some curves. It's not that crazy, maybe. Okay, and now I want to twist them. Oh, wait a second, I have to close my window. instances. Let me quickly move that here. And we can also group those. So those are curved lines as instances. Yeah, so this is this. And now we can use a set position node after that. And now we'll again move them around a little bit. Let me quickly get a full view of them here. So again, I use the position to a noise texture. And we can again uncheck the normalize to don't have the 0 to 1 range. Use the color to vector math multiply. And use that for the offset. So can make this also twist a lot. Quickly see if everything's fine. Oh yeah, this should be 1. Okay, that looks perfect. So this should be 0.002 actually, so like this. Okay, so just showing you what we have here. So we have a lot of points here as pillars, and if I change now the texture scale, it's more and more random. This is what I want. Can make it very high. I put it to 2000 or to 20,000, so very, very random, because they should look like particles then later, which are burning. Okay, so that's fine. And you could also, if you don't like the shape here, you could also use a vector math add to move the shape a little bit around, but that's optional. But just how, so on the original one, this has 1.05. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Okay. Everything's good. I'm just checking if everything is okay with the live stream. Yeah, okay, fine. Let's continue. Okay. I really need one more screen or my smartphone or whatever for the chat, then I can see everything. Okay. Okay, thank you. So we have this here, and now we will use the same trim. So by the way, this is here the I don't know, tobacco twisted or whatever you want to call that, or randomized. And then we want to use a trim curve and use this again here for the end. Okay. Let's see. Let me check if I did everything. Oh, sorry. Oh, wait a second. No, sorry, that was wrong. Of course, don't need this. Yeah, so this is the end here. Just have to check something on my original one, because I'm using it only here. Oh yeah, sorry, just to look something up. So originally, the trim curve here, so I want to use the same trimming value for multiple things. So this, I want to use it here, and this here I want to use also here on this trim, so that was the mistake. So like this, and now when I use or see both, so here you can see both. If I trim that, I'm trimming both at the same time. You can see that maybe a little bit here like this. So I'm trimming both values at the same time now because the trim float value, which comes out of here, trims the cigarette body, and it trims the tobacco curves here, which means it trims everything. And that's fine. I will later also squeeze that down a little bit to compress it a bit, but you could also just add a trim value here. So you could, in theory, use a math node, add, or subtract, sorry, and subtract a little bit until it fits the rim here better, and then so this also works if you do it like this. You just need to bring them synchronized together. I think that's even better than my solution before. I think I will keep it that way. Yeah, they look a bit like smoke, but they will only be tobacco. But of course you can just add more curves with smoke. I think that's, yeah, that's a good idea, I think. Maybe for the 2.0 version of that. Okay. Ah, yeah, okay, here right after that. So usually, so before, let me quickly show you that. So if I get rid of this here, here I want to, so here it continues now. So this is, yeah, just for synchronizing. Here I again want to capture an attribute for later, which is also a spline parameter. Yeah, so we'll use that later, like here. And here I want to add a curve to mesh. And here you have to be careful, because on, yeah, not, so on some computers, if they're not good enough, it could crash because we're adding now a lot of geometry at once. So we want to save before you do that, or prepare it a little bit. So curve circle, and the resolution here shouldn't be 32, but maybe 5 or 4. Let's say 4. That's fine. Yeah, and you can have a real smoke simulation on your own computer. And the radius is very low, so it should be 0.0001. So that's the radius of one of these tobacco strings. So let's put it in here. Let's get rid of the geometry here of the wireframe. So now this is how it looks like. And that's so. And I thought that could look like crunchy tobacco leaves or whatever this is. So I think that's fine. And when I bring this back here, it's like this. And then when this burns, yeah, it's like that. Oh, by the way, actually, it should be, I mean, yeah, later on we can correct that. But actually, I want to, because when you remember what I said, it should be ended here somewhere and not here at the top. So let's look at this in X-ray and correct that. So the cigarette ends somewhere here. And because sometimes on cigarettes, or I don't know if it's usually like that, but if you have the end of the cigarette here, then maybe a little bit of tobacco sticks out here, which is then burning. So it's, I think, I mean, it depends a little bit, but I mean, you could make it straight at the end here, but I thought maybe some of those are a little bit longer than the body. So yeah, and maybe a bit more loose or whatever. Okay. Yeah, paper burns faster. Yeah, so by this, yeah, that's what I thought. And so they, yeah, it should be a little bit longer maybe, but we can just correct this later. So this is the tobacco geometry. Okay. And then when I didn't use this, then I could, so I used before here a scale elements node to squeeze it on the Z axis, but in this case it's fine. We just synchronize the lengths here and that's good. So we don't need another node here. All right. And of course, yeah, then a new material, set material for the tobacco. Which is, I don't know, brown-like thing. I mean, we can't see that pretty well here, but yeah, this is how it looks like. My mouse pad has some sand or dust particle on it and it scratches somehow my mouse. Okay. So now, why does this look like that? Good question. Yeah, we could. So if you have issues here, like this, if it looks like hairy or something a little bit, you can just decrease the radius here of this one. This is the outer radius. Yeah, maybe 1/8. Okay, so this one sticks out here. Or you could also decrease the scale here, because then it won't be that strong. Or wait a second, we could also sorry, decrease the multiply here a little bit. So that's so they are deformed that strong. Yeah, we could also do that. Yeah, we could also do that, but I think it's maybe a bit easier if we just in general deform it a little less. But we could also, yeah, have it straight here, and then it's only noisy here. But I mean, maybe that looks a bit odd. Yeah, it could look odd if you somehow see the tobacco. Yeah, but you can only see that at the tip here. I mean, the only thing which could look odd is on this side, because okay, you have a filter here. I didn't do the filter. We can also do the filter then, because I thought if it looks weird if they are straight here, but if you have a filter here, then it's invisible. So we could do that actually. I mean, now it's fixed like this, but good idea. We could do that. But you gave me the idea to also add the filter. So that's. We will do this, of course. Okay, so here you can see. So this is like a cowboy cigarette, yeah, without filter. Like you smoke the pure tobacco smoke. So the pure cancer experience. I have no idea if this is more damaging or less. I have no idea. Okay. So let's make it a bit smaller. Okay, so that's fine. Tobacco material, that's good. Okay, so and the cool thing is now, where is my thingy here? So now we have this, which is the main motion basically. You can look at this also in wireframe. You can see it a bit better. Oops. So you can see the deformation happening here when it's being burned. And if you want to have more visible deformation, so that the deformation area is here, but you could have it larger by just going back to our thing here and just make this larger. Then you have a larger visible deformation area. Like this. Or maybe you want to have it not that strong, then you could also have a darker gray area for a longer period. Then the multiplication is just not that strong here, which means it's not that much deformed. But I mean, for burning, it's maybe not, because burning deforms it pretty fast. But if you want to have it differently, you can just add a, because here it goes from dark, so black to white. That's this area here. Sorry, it's actually this area. But you could also, for example, say, I want to have it from here to here. And this should be not that white, more dark. And then you have a less strong effect here. Okay, so that's good. So far for the geometry itself. And we could add the filter. Another cylinder. Could just add that. And we could move that whole thing up also. Wait a second. Transform geometry. Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, maybe here. And then move that a little bit up. Oh, wait a second, let's scale. Move it a little bit up. 1 millimeter. Yeah, we could also do it on here. I'm just thinking, where's the least performance thing? Maybe it's before I put it to every instance. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Yeah, so 1 millimeter up, that's fine. Or maybe 1.5, like this. And then we can have the filter here at the bottom. So another join geometry. Hey, wait a second. I already did that. Join here. And then this can have, I don't know. Yeah, 32 is fine. Where is my radius of the cigarette body? Here. Okay. So it can be 1 millimeter. And then move that a bit up. Or I don't know, yeah. Can also be 1 centimeter, doesn't matter. And we can just move it up a little bit. So this isn't even added on my case, but I didn't show the bottom of the cigarette. Also an old trick, only show what you did. So can also move this by 0.5 centimeter, and then it's here. So like this. Okay, I have no idea if this sticks out a little bit. What about Google cigarette? Here. Okay, so it's pretty much at the edge. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, so now we really have that. Okay, so if you look at it in cycles with lighting stuff enabled here. So this is how it looks like now. If the cigarette, geometry, like this. So, and the filter would be a leftover, but yeah, we don't burn it that much. We only burn it maybe until here. Okay, so far for the geometry of the cigarette. That's the filter piece. Okay. Okay, just tidy up a little bit. Hi, Masha. What's up? Are you enjoying the show? We're building a cigarette. Hi, Santosh. Santosh? What's up? So, okay, so far for the geometry. Any questions about the geometry? Because we would proceed with the Yeah, it said every version, so one of those was correct, I think. So we could proceed with the shader stuff, but before we, of course, have to use some attributes here, because later on we so for the shader it's relevant. Yeah, it's relevant basically where the burning should be, because of all the burning noise map and so on should only be here, which means we have to find that spot somehow. And this spot, we already know that spot, because if you remember from the start, our trimming thing, I mean, yeah, we can you see that good? Here you can see it. So our trim value, we have that. So this will always be 1, no matter how it's trimmed. And we also have this value here. And here you can see, I can see it with a little bit more. Here you can also see the tobacco thing, which means I want to, let me quickly see. I called that burn. Yeah, I would just do it the same way. So I want to get this attribute for the shader, this one here, and I call that burn. Quickly rename that. And I also want the original one, which I also used here. Here I think I just want to cut it here. Like this. And then connect it here. Like that. And this is the paper. I just named it like this because I don't know. But now I lost that part, so I have to improvise here. Which is always great for improvising things live. We all know that. That's the best idea always. I'm sure nothing will go wrong. Okay. So now we can use those things. So the geometry is now done, and we can proceed with the shader and attributes. So we have the attribute, which is this one. Can you see that? It's inside. Wait a second, you can only see that here. So we have this. And we also have this. And that's the most important for the paper. Okay, so let's proceed with the shader, which is the most interesting part visually. I mean, technically, this here is the most important part for tech freaks, geometry and so on. Another sip of tea. But visually, yeah, improvisation is always great. I mean, in 3D, you have to improvise all the time. It's like in coding. Oh, error or something? How about this workaround? I mean, it's 1 week ago or something I built that, so I can roughly remember it maybe, but let's see. Okay, so we have now this data, and let's go to the shader of the body, which is here. So I remember that wait a second, we can start with the mouth, because that's the most easy one. It's just a noise texture, mixing 2 colors. Mix color. First one is this, second one is a light version of this, or a dark, I'm not sure. And then I just mix them. With a color ramp, of course. Color ramp on pretty much constant. And then we can get these shapes here, which are on those mouthpieces of cigarettes. Something like that. Position, note. Wait a second, I'm in the shader editor. The nodes have different names. I always mix them up. So here we use a texture. Wait a second, let's quick do this. Control T. Normal. This way it's not distorted. So let's see where it is. Larger map here. So that's what I want. So now we don't want high detail. You mean what GPU I have? You can... you can't see that. RTX 3080. 3080 I have. So, and I'm not 100% sure, but they look roughly like this here with these little pieces on them from, I think, producing them or whatever. Okay, so that's yeah, that's the mouthpiece material. Pretty simple, actually, like this. The body. So let's go back to the body. The body, in general, has a wave texture. Yeah. Oh, Blender on a laptop is crazy. I mean, not crazy. I think lots of people doing it, but yeah. The screen would be, I mean, yeah, I work with 2 screens and a computer, 3080, and sometimes I even hit the boundaries. I mean, it only has like a 10 gigabyte VRAM, so it's not that super mega large. It was maybe back then when I bought it, but yeah, now it's, I maybe have to upgrade at some point, yeah, but it's fine for now. Okay, what do I want to do? Yeah, here. So I want to use the factor to mix color. Wait a second. Mix color here. Here. And here. So, and I want to use the bands, that's fine, on Z. And I want to mix 2 colors here. So here you can see it. Because cigarettes, if you Google a cigarette, wait a second, I even have an image downloaded here. Wait a second. Here, that's what I used for reference. Yeah, a little bit large. So here I saw that they have stripes. So they are white. So the paper is white. And they have like darker, yeah, stripes here. Which means, and slightly transparent, but I ignored that. We could also do this. But they have slight dark stripes. And the paper should, of course, be pretty rough. So maybe something like that. So that it should be pretty white. And the stripes a little bit less white. Again, color ramp. Compress a little. So something like that is what the cigarette body looks like. So if you look at that here, you have these slight stripes. So, okay, roughly. Here you can actually look inside. That's a biblically correct cigarette with tobacco inside. Yeah, and that's why I think, yeah, so maybe you don't have to use it like this. Yeah, using real geometry is a little bit overkill. When you work on a laptop, maybe you don't want to do that and just use it. Yeah, the clipping helped. Yeah, the clipping helped here to see that. Usually it's an error and you want to get rid of this by this here, 0.001, and then you can't look inside. But here, it actually helped to show you how it looks inside. So, cutting open. Okay. So that's the body color, yeah, roughly correct. Correct for me as a non-smoker. And now I want to get rid, of course, of all the other stuff here. So at first, you want to get rid of all of this stuff here, which is just an alpha value. So the body. So we want to use now. So this is the color. Body color. And here I want to use now an attribute, which is called paper. I named that here. And use this. Can you see that? I think in cycles you can see it better. So it's starting here. So it's upside down actually. So it's invisible here. So you want to use a color ramp. Flip that. And here now you can define where it should be gone. Okay. And why is this black? Because I don't have that many transparent bounces. So now it's not transparent and it's not black anymore. So now we can pick, can Eevee now show this also? Yeah, okay, Eevee. I mean, Eevee is not perfect for transparency, but it's faster here. So we can say maybe like this. Yeah, we can work with this roughly. Okay. Yeah, I can't check it now. As I said, I have to improvise now, but this is roughly how it looks like, and this will also be differently shaded. Okay. And the transparency should also be on a noise texture. And I want to multiply that with this. So I want to... this is only a single factor in this case. So a usual math node is fine. Can use that color ramp to a mix shader for burnt gray papers and thinking improvisation. Yeah. Yeah, I did some yes, I mixed multiple things. So we have to mix for the transparency, so for alpha, and you have to also mix for the burnt paper color, so making it black, and then you have to use another map for the burning area. Basically, so the glowing line of burnt paper. But yeah, let's see if we can figure that out here. So if I multiply that, let's quickly see. Object. Let's see this at first, because I'm not sure. Okay, here. Okay, that was just too strong. So here. Okay, that's maybe too strong. Okay, multiply that. And then it's only burning here. What? I have to flip that here. Okay, wait a second. For the map, so I I only want it here actually, so I have to do it differently. This is the noise, and this is okay. So I have to use a different here one. So different color mapping. Wrong. So I want to use those, and here I want to use this one. So here I want to be black at the bottom and only be white. Actually, it's like this. Yeah, it's like this. Because here will be invisible then. Okay, so I think that's fine. So yeah, it should be like this. So it's like that. And this is the general transparency. Okay, so this is the burning effect, and this is the transparency. So here I want to mix. So this here, wait a second. This here is the. I delete the mapping node. So this here will be, for example, that's way too large. 1 second. Here, my standard tip: if it's too sensitive, a slider in Blender, then I use a vector math or a math node. Oops, vector math. Then I put one slider to a very tiny value, 0.00001, put it to multiply, and then you can just dial it vary with large values, and it only changes a little. Maybe 1 0 too much, like this, and I can just play with it way more controlled. Because if I do this here, it's just too much. Yeah, this is how I usually do sensitive sliders in geometry nodes and everything. Just use a multiply and multiply it with a very tiny thing. Could also divide it with a high value, of course, like 10,000, and then you can have the same thing. Yeah, so that's my tip for sensitive sliders. Okay. Okay, so this here, and maybe this is even too, yeah, maybe like this. So that would be the coloring of the paper. So let me quickly mix color here. Black is the original one, which is 0 here, and white is then burned, let's say black. Here. Connect that. Okay, so it will be then like this. Yeah. Not that strong. Okay, maybe like this here. Okay. Like that. Let me quickly look at trim. Okay, that's fine. And I animated this here also. So this here is, wait a second, not this one. It is this one. So let's say hashtag frame. Then it just plays if I play the timeline. And then I have to see how small the slider should be. Maybe that's a little bit too fast. That's too slow. Oh, wait a second, that was a mistake. Here, like this. Okay, so that could look like this. For the burning. Oh, wait a second, I just realized. Yeah, okay, but this also moves, so it's... Yeah, it doesn't matter, actually. Because this is also... So it's also animated, which means... So let me quickly show you that here. So this is here. And at the last frame, it's then... Let's say... Here. Shortcut for interpolation is T, linear. So this just burns linearly down. So I made a mistake, of course. Let's -5. -5,000. That should go up. Okay, so that's okay, I think. Okay, and now let's use the alpha. So this is, I think, not enough. Actually, okay, actually it works, I think. Let's look at it in cycles. Ah, the alpha transparency is hurting my eye. And I think I would also, since we already have it, I would just add the transparency here. So we could do, of course, I mean, we could add another noise texture for transparency so that it's not that linearly burning or getting transparent, because the transparency is now only this. Wait a second, I'm confused. One second. I confused myself. So this is the noise. Here, multiply. So, okay, so the transparency is only this here, which is okay. But I mean, we could also mix this with a noise texture. I have to flip that. I have to flip it first, I think. Yeah. So let me quickly change this. So like this. Then I'm adding the noise texture. Ah, come on. Sorry, I'm tidying it up in a second. So I'm adding a noise texture like this on, wait a second, I can use this one. So, and the edit is now, oh, sorry, I'm subtracting, not adding, subtracting. One second. So smaller like this. Okay. Subtract. Okay, here you can see it. So now I have black dots or black areas here, which also reduce the alpha, which is then a little bit less sharp or something that disappearing here. So before it was like this, linear, and now, and by the way, I have to invert node here for exactly this. Now I invert it, so it's the other way around. So, and now you can see the difference. Let's see if it worked or everything was unnecessary here. Okay, it's not strong enough. I have to make it larger. And more dark spots. Maybe changing white color after noise to gray. What do you mean with that? Wait a second. I see the issue. Yeah, I can see the issue. Of course, I'm creating. But wait a second. This is. Am I stupid? I'm subtracting. Okay. Wait a second. I made a mistake. Sorry, I made a mistake. I added black spots here. And after I invert it, they are white, which means it's subtracting. Or it's adding. It's subtracting transparency. It's adding opacity or alpha. I wanted it to. I wanted it to be other way around. Wait, 1 second. I have to think about it for a second. So here, I want to add in the lower area. I'm not even sure if I did that in the original one, actually. I wanted to just make it a little bit less linear here. You know what, I think I will just drop it for now. We can fix it later. I mean, when everything is done, we can come back to this, but yeah, I will just drop it for now. Wait a second. I think linearly was fine enough. Alpha. Here, I have to flip that now. Okay. Ha! I knew it. Improvising live, always the best idea. So it's like this now. Let's quickly look at it in Eevee. So it's like this now. I think it's fine enough. So like that. Okay, so now it's burning here. And now we have that base color. So that's the color here. Okay, this is the one. So, and if we want to change the color pattern, we can just change it on the map here. So maybe we want to have it like this. And maybe a bit more like here. So it's now getting darker here. When it's you can see it not, can't see very nice in Eevee. Okay, thank you, Daniel. Yeah, sometimes it's just usually when I build something, for example, a geometry nodes thing for myself or a client or for YouTube or whatever, and I confuse myself too much, I just go for a walk or whatever, and think about it. And then yeah, often if you do something else, you get along with what happened or what went wrong. I can't do this now. I can't go for a walk now for an hour. I have to stay live. Okay, but I think it's fine here. Okay, so. And now, of course, we need that glowing area, which is actually the same thing. So the color ramp, we can reuse the color ramp here and remap that again for the emission. So here the emission is here. And if I just, for example, the color is something like that, then I can make it glow, of course. So the color... yeah, the mind frees up and kind of does a defragment on a hard drive. That's true. It's like, yeah, it's like you go in a room and forgot what you wanted to do there, and then you have to go out again, and then you again memorize what you wanted to do. So I can use, where is that? This map here, I can reuse that. I mean, I could also reuse this map here actually. Let me use this one here with another mapping. So I will use another version of this noise for my strength here, for my emission strength. Which is only in a single spot, which means black, white, black, because I only want to have a glow in a certain spot, which is very narrow, like that, for example. And wait a second, I think I messed up. I want to only have that here. Yeah, I will use this one instead. And I have to remap that again. Wait a second, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to be... yeah, only on this area. Yeah, that map is correct. Because of that linear thing. Let me quickly change this. No. I think I know my mistake. Yeah, I only wanted to be at the top side. Okay, let me quickly... So I actually want to do a different thing. This one, no, not this one. Let me quickly just use my custom remap here. I have to remap my linear map here. So color ramp, let's do it again. I mean, I just wanted to use other maps and other color ramps and so on to save a bit of notes, but I think I have to just do it. Okay, so let's start over. So this is my linear thing here, and I only want to have the top side of it, like here, roughly. Here. And I want to multiply that with this one. Usually I make total chaos and then I tidy it up after because it's a bit easier. So let's see what's happening here. Okay, I just think this needs another color ramp, which is a bit more strong. Okay. And this here needs the transition stuff. Okay, it looks fine, I think. But I want it to be more here, which means this here has to be more away. Okay. I just don't like that linear thing here. Where does that come from? Multiplied with this? Ah, it's this one. Is it? Yeah, that's the, so this will be the glowing stuff later. So that's the burning area. Because when paper burns, it has these islands, you could call them, of, yeah, you know what I mean, the island stuff. And I think I don't even need this. Oh, wait a second. I think I don't even need the animated version of that. Let's quickly get rid of this and here. Okay. So then it burned like this. I'm just a bit confused of that thing here. I want to see that in cycles. Where is that line? I'm multiplying this with this. And I have a line here, which is a bit confusing. It only appears here. Ah! Wow, why is this line there? Interesting. I mean, I think I just move it where it's invisible then later on, but it's a bit, I didn't have that before. I mean, I can just move it away, I think. But I want to have it more here. I'm confused by this. Color ramp? I can't see where it multiplies to this highlight. I mean, it multiplies. The first glow color ramp should have black end, I think. first glow color ramp, which I'm using. So yeah, this is the first. Yeah, I'm not sure. Now I have two. That's a little odd. I'm just so confused because I'm multiplying this with this. And then I'm remapping it, so it's only there. I know why. Okay, I know why. I know why. Okay, I made a mistake, of course, obviously. I have to do it here, the color ramp. So stupid. Okay, yeah. Okay, I got it. Okay. So I'm looking at it here. Okay. Yeah, I made a mistake by using this here. I think I should have done it here. Here, this is what I want. Glow. And this I'm multiplying with that, and then I don't have it. Okay. Little stupid moment for me. All right, so now we have it like this. And I want to, okay, I think I used a 4D noise, but am I messing up everything now? I don't think so. Yeah, and now, because now I can do it here. So now I can animate this with, oops, hashtag frame by 100. Okay, 1,000, 10,000. Okay, that looks okay. And I don't like that fading thing. I think it's this one, right? Okay. So wait a second. In general, the fading is the alpha, which is here. Yeah, I didn't use that then. I'm again a bit confused. Yeah, because I moved. Yeah, I deformed that a lot. That's why. How did I do that? A shame that I don't have it around here. Oops. I want to get rid of the stuff there. Let's quickly look at it in cycles. Okay, so that fading here is wrong, and I want to fade the effect. That's the... No, what's the alpha? This is only the alpha. So the alpha in general should be like this. The cigarette should in general always be there. Yeah, that's more accurate. And that stupid fading effect. So where did that come from? Here, that's also the fading, which is also wrong. So it should be, let's watch it. Final should be EV like this. Maybe. You know what? Yeah, what is it? What do you think? Oh, and here you can see we again have to put it a bit down, way further down. Oh, like here. The attribute is bound to the vertices, and they define 0 to 1 when they move by your noise. Yeah, the alpha gets stretched. Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, we can see that. Yeah, I can just copy that quickly. We can see that if I move, let's switch to constant, we can see it best. So here you can see that originally they were here. And when I move them away, they, yeah, so they, yeah, so if they are black here, then, or if they're still white here, and then they're here above, they're white. That's why some of them are here black and above white and black and white and so on. Yeah, so they get the attribute, and after that they get stretched. But can I mean, I could in theory also just grab the Z value of them with a bit of noise, like on the material. But I mean, originally it worked pretty well in the, yeah, before, when you look at the trailer video, it worked pretty well. And I forgot how I did that. And for some reason, I think because I changed the material, something, I didn't save that. And if you don't save a material, it gets deleted when you close the file. Somehow it, yeah, got deleted. Yeah, and this black thing, so but this black here is a material. It's this one here. So it's that with this, and that's responsible for the color. Okay, and I'm using, yeah, I'm using the map here. Okay, so I think I will just, I mean, it's fine that it gets a bit darker here, but in general it's a bit stupid. So let's just do it like, or in technically, yeah, I mean, let's just do it like this here or something. I just want that black thing there too strong. Or I could also, maybe I'm stupid. Yeah, it's, I mean, it's fine, I think. So currently it's like this. And one more thing, I guess I want to increase the strength. Oh, by the way, where is my, yeah, this one. I want to also don't use a single color. I want to use this map here for the color also. So I'm using this, which is also responsible for the strength, for the color. Wait a second. I think I want to again color ramp that just to adjust the mapping a little bit, because here on this one you can see this here, and I want to have I want to have 3 colors. So this should be wait a second, am I wrong? No, it's only the color for this area. It's already mapped. Yeah, okay, got it, for the emission. Okay, so I want to use the emission black. So the outer, so the thing here should be very bright yellowish. For example, like, let's do it like this. And this should be then reddish, like this. Because then you will have that transition fading here. You know, like that. That you have like a gradient from the center of that border to the rim of the border. To have that burning fading color. And of course the strength should be stronger. Again, multiply that with, I don't know, 5 or something. Then it's way stronger, or maybe 5 is too much, but 3. Because, oops, in the compositor, then, of course, we want to use a glare. Always like this. Oh, threshold way too strong. Let's put it to 5 and then just. Why is that thing glowing so much? Okay, yeah, I got it. Okay, so it's not really glowing that much. So threshold 3 or something, or 2, and then it glows here like this. Could also use fog glow, which is a bit less strong. I mean, for bloom, it's relatively strong here. To have this glare effect. Oops, here. Yeah, but that's for later. I mean, yeah, we can just enable that, but disable it here. Okay, so, I mean, yeah, let's just leave it like this. That's fine for now. Yeah, improvised material for the cigarette. Is this everything? Annotations? Yeah, okay. And I want to, now, of course, burn also the stuff here. The tobacco, which is only here, this material. And we have also an attribute for that, which was burn. But this tobacco would be a better thing. And it's this here. And this is way more simple because I'll just use a emission. Wait a second, we already have emission here. Emission value. Strength, color ramp, then we can choose where they should burn, at the tip, for example, only. But I mean, now we come into the field of overdoing things and making it too detailed. But we could make them burn only at the tip, like if you take a inhaling breath while you're on the cigarette, to only light the tips of them, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you render it on a person or something, that will be a couple of pixels, the tip here. But if you look very closely, we could burn only the tip, for like this, for example. And the color, same thing. We use a color ramp again for the mapping of the colors, and we can do the same thing here. So that's a burning, that's good. So the burning color could be glowing at the top. Like fries, and then red at the bottom. How do we see that here at all? Okay, I need that more here, like this. Okay, so here like crunchy fries inside of that thing. Okay, we could also, because I thought about that, but I wasn't sure. I mean, but now since we're improvising now anyway, we could also, because if you look closely, okay, I can't see burning, but if you see a burning cigarette viewed from the front, only some of the little tobacco pieces are burning. Some are not and are black. We could also do that. So we could add to the glow here. Let's really take a look. Okay, and the strength should also be stronger. Ugh, okay, yeah. A little bit strong. Yeah, so maybe like this. Tobacco's top notch, yeah. So this is how... I mean, is this advertising for smoking? I don't know. It looks a little bit fancy. But maybe we want to only enlight or ignite some of those tips, which means, as always, noise, texture. Let's disable it. They really look like fries here, actually. A little bit. So let's just use a noise texture. Okay, maybe I should do more frequently just an improvised stream where you just say me what I should do and I just try to improvise something out of thin air, and maybe we can see how when I bounce into limits where I can't improvise and find workarounds for things. It could be fun actually. Like try to make a dirty moss wall with stones and with little insects inside moving around or something, and I have to improvise in geometry nodes. Could be fun. Okay, so noise texture on object. By the way, I use object here because generated distorts it if it's not cubical. So a very high cigarette has a very large z-axis and a very narrow X and Y axis, which means the generated, which is like the bounding box scale, is distorted and the object is not. That's why. I mean, you can see that. Can you see that? Yeah, on the fries. Can I isolate it? No, I can't. Okay, I can't show you that now. It's fine. So noise, color ramp. I mean, we could use 2D in this case. I mean, we could use depth. Since we're overdoing everything now, we can just use depth. That's fine. So high detail. So only some of them are now burning. And how many? I mean, yeah, maybe something like this. Yeah, 2D would be viewed from the top. Oops, like this. And just stretch to the bottom. Yeah, that's, yeah, I mean, that's not a very big difference. So let's quickly take a look. And I want to use this to... Oh, wait a second, I added that. I wanted to multiply that actually. That's why it was so crazy bright. So this is the... Yeah, exactly. So I want to multiply... no, math, multiply, not vector math, multiply. Here, this with that, connect. Let's see. So now only some. Hi, Face Curious. What's up? We're building a tasty cigarette. Okay, don't have to limit that. I think it's not enough, so more should burn. That's the correct one, yeah. So maybe like this, like some are not ignited yet. Maybe like this. And why the hell is that so extremely bright? Body. Let's multiply it with 3, I think. Okay, that's fine. Tobacco. This also with 3. Okay. And here you can then choose if everything should be ignited or just a couple of those things. And maybe it should be darker in general. Hi, brother. Really wanted to see you're doing environment tutorial, and this is fantastic. You're today. Yeah, I'm doing. Yeah, we're improvising here now because I accidentally deleted a material which I had prepared. So we're improvising now here. Shader stuff, the attribute stuff. Yeah, we're currently working on the tobacco tip of a cigarette, which is very detailed. Yeah, this like microscopic work we're doing here. Okay, so this is the tip of it. I mean, I can't play it in real time because it's lagging too much, but in Eevee you can maybe imagine how it would look like. So this, how they would burn, and you can see the little curves being trimmed while they're being burned down. Like this. In cycles it would look way cooler, but I can't show you that. Wait a second, can I maybe reduce the... no, I can't. Okay, I can't show you that. That's not for... I mean, cycles is not for real time. Okay, it's not updating fast enough, but yeah. I think you can imagine how it looks like. You're creative persons or people, you can imagine how it looks like. So this is how the... And the stripes are moving. Wait a second, I bound it to the wrong thing. That's triggering me a little bit. Ah, you're an environment 3D artist. Yeah, I can drop you something. Yeah, sure. Let's get rid of this. Yeah, Eevee. I mean, Eevee is fine for all of that mapping stuff. For real time to check maps in general. Yeah, Eevee is fine, I think. So I have no bad words for Eevee. Where is my here? This. No, wait a second. My wave texture here. That thing is moving because it's bound to this. Ah, I know why. Here. Let's see. Okay, that's why I never used the stupid generated thing. It now, so the error was it used the generated plug by default, and generated is the bounding box, which means when the cigarette gets shorter, so this is the mapping, and when the cigarette gets shorter, then the bounding box is smaller in the height, which means it squeezes it together. That's why it's moving down. If you use object and use then a different mapping here, then it doesn't do that because it doesn't use the bounding box. I hate the stupid generate option. I want Blender to by default use object and not generate it. Yeah, but I think they won't do that. But okay, now it's fixed by just using the correct texture coordinate. I use generate with unchanging the auto generate, and you can animate as well. Yeah, I mean, it is useful. Yeah, but 99%, if I want to just generally add position vectors to a texture node, I just use object. It's a bit simpler. And the cool thing is with object, you can even bind it to another, from another object. And yeah, use a controller in the shader editor without any geonode stuff. That's very helpful also. So let's include this. Okay. Okay, oops. Okay, good. So that's fine. Let's go back to the tobacco. Okay. The good thing about generators, you can have the same shader. Yeah, that's true. So it depends. Yeah, I mean that's the upside of it. You can use it on different objects, and I mean, of course, you have use cases for it if you want to have the same relatively or the same relative pattern on various objects. For example, I want to have the height also have this exact pattern of the object on the z vector, for example, or it should always have 3 stripes. Doesn't matter how large it is, then it's helpful, of course. Yeah, for relative texture scaling. I have to quickly do something for 1 minute because my cat wants something, and I was prepared for that because she always wants something, and I have to drop your little thingy here to watch while I care about my cat. It just takes 1 minute, one second. Okay, I'm back. So, okay, so so Lily got everything what she needed. Yeah, she's cute. I adopted her from the animal shelter last year, January, and then yeah, she's a very active and sweet cat. Okay. And she also keeps me active while working on Blender projects. Okay. She has a little carton box right on my desk to sleep. Okay. So we were at the okay, here. So at the tobacco thing. So I'm not sure if we need to add more here, actually. I mean, yeah, this is a little different than the actual trailer video. Sorry, next time I won't lose the reference material right before the stream, or I don't know, the day before. I have no idea for some reason. I have to check now every material here and protect it. By the way, if you had this issue, you can protect it from being deleted here and add a fake user. Because if a shader or whatever is not in use and you close Blender, then it's being deleted. And you can prevent that by checking that little shield icon here to give it a fake user, so Blender thinks it is in use and then it doesn't delete it when you close the project, because Blender just get rid of unnecessary things when you close the project. And apparently, I don't know, maybe I didn't or I don't know, didn't attach it or assign it to the material slot or something in GeoNotes. So I think I didn't assign it here. And no, that's the mouse here. I didn't assign it here, and by this it wasn't in use. Yeah, little stupid, but yeah, improvising is the best. Yeah, Blender or GeoNotes is. I mean, of course, when I approach a project at first, it's all about improvising. I mean, of course, I have a plan in my head. I want to do a curve, and then this attribute and that, and then the noise could do this and so on. And then, but when you encounter then an issue, better than the pre-shader, yeah, maybe, yeah, could be. Let's just assume, or let's just say it is way better, okay? So it's way better. It turned out way better. I'm happy that it turned out way better than I thought it was, and you all thought. Oh, a little bit tobacco sticking out here again. Let's fix that by just getting rid of it a little bit. Let's just put this down. Again. Okay, now everything is inside. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Okay, yeah, I think I like it. I mean, yeah, the downside is I can't show you it in real time in cycles like in the rendered video. It rendered a couple of minutes, of course. Yeah, but I think you can assume how it would look like in cycles. Yeah, in Eevee you can see it here. Okay. Do you have questions, which maybe something in general about GeoNotes, something, because the main thing is through, I guess, so we did like 2 hours plus. So the cigarette thing is finished, basically. Do you have like I mean, we have now questions and answers session about geometry nodes or shaders or whatever, or anything, because I could answer it right off the cuff if you want to know something or are confused by something usually. Okay, just had to open a door again for Lilly. So I'm back here. Everything's good. Oh yeah, thank you. Happy that you enjoyed it. And yeah, I planned to do streams regularly this year, here and then. Yeah, because it's just an alternative kind of content, and I kind of like it. And obviously, I don't have an issue like speaking publicly in English and so on, because yeah, I also give like lessons, of course, in Blender, and yeah, that's the same thing, just publicly. So it's not a big deal actually, and I think it's more enjoyable if it's a little bit more interactive for you as viewers. Yeah, so I think so here and there, and of course, and another good thing is I can like half finish a project, which I like. Maybe you are like me, that you half finish something and then you want to do another thing, and then I can just do it again on stream and improvise a little bit with you together. And then that's maybe another good thing. So I can just I can actually finish something and don't drop it halfway through. Okay, cool. So then that was it. I hope you had fun and learned something. And yeah, I will announce it everywhere on Instagram and YouTube if I do another stream. You won't miss it, I think, if you have subscribed me. Oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe me. Subscribe. So then you don't miss a stream announcement. Okay, so cool. Then we will hear each other, or you hear me, I can't hear you, in the next one. And then that was it. Okay, cool. Bye bye guys, hope you had fun and learned a lot. Okay, bye bye.